your news in your community. This is KRBC, Abilene's local news at 5.
Hey everyone, I don't know if everybody knows, but we caught him.
The cost of it was $4,000, which I shared with the district attorney's office, and that's probably the best $4,000 this county has ever spent.
More than a year after a Brown County woman's body was found, her accused killer confesses and is in custody. DNA evidence leading to his arrest. Good evening, I'm Samantha Jones.
And I'm Randy Turner. We do thank you for joining us today. An unbelievable development out of Brown County. The man police believe is responsible for the murder of Rhonda Chantay Blankinship, fully confessing to the crime. KRBC the first to alert you to this breaking news.
Late Wednesday evening, Blankinship's killer was taken into custody.
Today, the Sheriff's Department in Brown County identifying the man in custody as 21-year-old Ryan Riggs. He's been charged with capital murder. The autopsy report proving Chantay's cause of death was blunt force trauma and showing she had been sexually assaulted. And her death and disappearance happening in May of 2016. Her body found just 5 miles from her home. She was only 25 years old at the time. Police didn't have enough evidence to lead them to a suspect, virtually leaving the case at a standstill. But the ball began rolling in last week when Brownwood investigators released this profile sketch using new technology and DNA samples to create a phenotype profile of what police thought the killer may look like. And it turns out that image alarmingly identical to the man now charged with Chantay's death. After the release of the photo, Riggs confessed to his church congregation last night. And before being taken into custody, he provided Brown County Sheriff Vance Hill with details of the crime scene that had not been released to the public and only the suspect would know. At a news conference this morning, Sheriff Hill says the phenotype photo was released. Riggs' name was named as a suspect, but deputies were unable to locate him for several days. Our Dusty Baker has been leading our team coverage on these latest developments. Today's he's at North Lake Community Church, where Chantay Blankinship spent much of her time. Dusty telling us just how difficult this 18-month-long process has been for her family.
Sam and Randy, thank you. I'm here at North Lake Community Church, which is where Chantay Blankinship, as well as Ryan Riggs, her suspected murderer, both attended church. Now, I'm told by the pastor last night, Ryan Riggs did go up to him and told him, as well as the congregation, that he was confessing to murdering Chantay Blankinship. I spoke to Chantay's parents today, and they told me that despite the grief, they're relieved to get this man behind bars, despite the fact that he's been so close to them this entire time.
He was there for the search, he was there for the candlelighting, he was there for every benefit we did.
And you know, him confessing to the pastor, you know, he stood by his side through it all and never sent him on his way.
In his brokenness, he said that I need to make things right with you, but more importantly, I need to make things right with God and with my church family. And he said, I need to confess something to you. And he said, I murdered her.
With the news of the suspected murderer, the family can now move on by celebrating the life of Chantay Blankinship. This Sunday is her birthday. She would have been 27 years old, and they will be celebrating her with 27 balloons. Reporting in Brown County, Dusty Baker, KRBC, Abilene's local news.
Dusty, thank you. As he just mentioned, Chantay would have celebrated her 27th birthday this coming Sunday, November 19th. And this year, the day carries even more meaning. As a way to honor Chantay's life, a balloon release will be held at Pleasant Valley Cemetery at 4 p.m. The family will be releasing 27 balloons, and they're inviting the public to be a part of that ceremony.
But now we want to hear your thoughts on Riggs' confession and the technology used to find him. An outpouring of emotions from all sides, and here's what some of you had to say. Nadine says, pretty amazing. Thanks to all who had a part in solving this murder. And Bill agreeing with Nadine, saying that technology is amazing. Of course, we want to know, we will continue to update you with the latest information, and to watch for the full press release on this conference from this morning, head to our website, bigcountryhomepage.com.
We will have more coverage on this story in just a moment. Local reaction from police and even comment from the company behind this innovative technology. But first, we're turning now to weather. Randy, warm today and warmer tomorrow. When will it be cooling off here in the Big Country?
It will cool off Saturday and early in the day on Saturday as a cold front will drop temperatures by about 25 degrees. So big cool down, but a nice day today. Not only here, but statewide. High pressure is dominating Texas weather. Yeah, a few showers noted northwest of Houston, but that is about it. Right now in Abilene, we have sunny skies, temperature 69 degrees, the wind southerly at 10. Rather humid for this time of year, 65% humidity. And as we look ahead to your Friday, a few clouds around tomorrow morning and 60 degrees as we start off the day, and then mostly sunny by the noon hour with a temperature of 78 degrees, and then mostly sunny at about 82 by 5 p.m. But it's between noon and 5 p.m. when temperatures will approach record highs for tomorrow. We could see 86. I've got 85 for the high. We'll find out, and we'll have more on your weather for the weekend coming up in a few minutes.
Randy, thank you. We're continuing to take a look into the technology that helped law enforcement find the man responsible for the death of Chantay Blankinship. Digging a little deeper, we found that the technology is called Snapshot. It's created by a company based out of Virginia called Parabon. It uses DNA to configure the physical attributes of a person. But the best part, the technology doesn't need much to do the test. As little as a 13th of your saliva from a sip of a bottle of water is enough to make a profile. We spoke with the Parabon CEO about this groundbreaking technology and the role it plays in solving crimes.
But with Snapshot, we can predict the physical traits of the source of that DNA and make downstream investigation a lot more efficient because they do not have to waste energy on subjects that really can be discounted because of their DNA.
The company hopes in the future they will be able to detect more traits and that it will be used as a first option when solving crimes.
But how did Parabon come up with this idea, and how is new technology like Snapshot potentially changing the way our law enforcement solves crime? We spoke with a local McMurray professor who teaches a serial murder investigation class on what this may mean for the future of solving crimes. Our team coverage continuing with our Febin Cassahoon joining us with those details.
Well, Samantha and Randy, what's crazy is that officials reportedly found this idea from a TV show, and now we have proof that it works. Professor Hollingsworth teaches a serial murder investigation here at McMurray University, and he explained that this new technology will forever change the game of murder investigations, calling the technology absolute.
Because not only are they using it today to identify suspects, but also victims. There was a case in Brooklyn, New York, where a body part washed up on shore, and they didn't have, and followed by other body parts, of which they finally were able to get DNA evidence from blood and actually identify the victim.
This new phenotype technology is not new, but it's certainly new to Brown County, and Hollingsworth says he is looking forward to how DNA will play a role in future murder investigations. From McMurray University, Febin Cassahoon, KRBC, Abilene's local news.
Febin, thank you. Turning our focus and what's coming up a little bit later on KRBC News at 5. Texas Senator John Cornyn announcing he has reached a bipartisan agreement on a piece of legislation that would tighten loopholes in federal background checks for individuals wanting to purchase firearms. That story in just a few minutes.
In more local crime news, 2 suspects have been indicted for the murder of an Abilene teen who was shot and killed in July. Jamon West and Deaudre Height Ely have each been indicted for murder, aggravated robbery, and tampering with evidence, all in connection to the death of 19-year-old Bronson Boyles. They are being held in jail on bonds totaling at least $700,000. A third suspect, Jarrell Mathis, also initially charged with murder and aggravated robbery in connection to Boyles' death, but those charges have been dropped and he has been released from jail. Over the summer, Bronson Boyles was shot at the Summer Wind apartment complex off of South Clack Street. He passed away while in transit to the hospital.
And shocking news from our nation's capital today. This afternoon, the House Republicans passed their tax reform bill that would revamp the U.S. tax code and affect every corner of the U.S. economy. The vote followed along strict party lines and comes just 2 weeks after the plan was unveiled. The House bill would mean tax cuts on average for all income groups in 2018 and most income groups in 2027. Also this week, the Senate Finance Committee is wrapping up work on its own tax overhaul bill. Lawmakers weighing in on this recently passed plan.
for the dream to make sure that America stays on top, that the next century is ours, this will bring competition back to America.
This conference today is one of the greatest things we could possibly do to make good on that promise, and I'm so proud.
Despite positive outlooks, the Tax Policy Center says the biggest benefits go to the wealthiest Americans. Eventually, any legislation approved by each chamber will have to be reconciled into one single plan. Coming up on First at 5, agreement across the aisle, a new piece of bipartisan legislation introduced looking to tighten loopholes in the federal background check system relating to gun purchases. That story in just a few minutes.
And it's hang on to your hat weather Friday and Saturday. The warm and cool of it all in the forecast next on Abilene's Local News.
This is KRBC, Abilene's Local News at 5 with Samantha Jones and Chief Meteorologist Randy Turner.